a sacred space for the visionaries, the healers, the architects of legacy who aren't here to play with trends. I was raised in a spiritually rooted household, the kind where intuition wasn't something we discovered later in life. It was our default setting. The rituals, the awareness, the connection to the unseen. This wasn't a practice I adopted. It was the rhythm of my upbringing, the atmosphere I breathed before I had words to name it. So when I began to witness a growing hunger in the world for spirituality, I felt called to offer guidance. Not from a place of performance, but from lived embodiment. I opened the doors to my world, hoping to bring light, clarity, and grounded wisdom to those who are newly awakening. But then I noticed something. The sacred was being sensationalized, the mystical excessively monetized, and the truth deeply distorted. Instead of using spirituality as a tool for embodiment and empowerment, many was using it as an escape hatch. They weren't seeking transformation. They were seeking to bypass the very life they were meant to alchemize, avoiding responsibility by outsourcing their power to thought forms, angel numbers, and algorithms, confusing fantasy with frequency. That wasn't elevation, that was delusion. So I closed the doors to my mentorship program, focused on the students I had inside the portal, and offered perfume to the world instead of what I held near and dear to my heart. This path was never meant to disconnect anyone from their humanity. It's meant to deepen your stewardship of it. So I pulled back. I stopped romanticizing what's behind the veil and started teaching something more essential. How to balance both realms. How to hold the incense and the invoice. How to manifest without abandoning maintenance. How to listen to spirit and build systems. How to channel light without losing your mind. Because true ascension doesn't float above life. It integrates into it. And real wealth, real magic, real freedom, it lives at the intersection of spiritual intelligence and grounded action. That's why I created the Inner Circle. Not as a classroom for escape, but as a sanctuary for embodied mastery. A sacred space for the visionaries, the healers, the architects of legacy who aren't here to play with trends, but to transmute timelines. Inside the Inner Circle, we don't just talk about energy. We move with it. We decode the metaphysical. We implement the practical. We bridge the veil with vision and strategy. We study spiritual law while reworking belief systems, businesses, and bank accounts. This is mentorship for those who are ready to make their inner world match the outer results they know are meant for them. This is where you come to rise without abandoning your real life in the process. Because this is the legacy. To be spiritually aware, emotionally rooted, mentally sharp, and financially sovereign. To embody what you know. To teach through being. To create a life so aligned it becomes your sacred curriculum. The Inner Circle is open. For now. And if your soul is whispering, I've been waiting for this, then you already know it's time. Join in. There's a link in my bio. You can DM me or you can send me a message. And you should definitely be in my email list.